Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks, here to bring you your weekly flesh and blood market update. Today, it's a bit spicy. Some things are jumping. It's pretty interesting. Definitely some movement around ProQuest desires, and we'll dig in and see where it is. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button, like, share. Thumbs up, all those things. You know the buttons to push. And if you could, share it with your friends. Let others know what I'm doing and have them join in on the fun. So let's jump in. WTR Unlimited boxes are up 10.91% to $61 a box. Pretty interesting jump considering this has been stable for a while and basically leaking down for the past 2 months. But 61 is nothing to write home about. We did see that in November of last year. Oh, by the way, Happy New Year. And we have seen it get to that point in the past. So I just don't know that that's really remarkable. I mean, we're talking all the way back April. They were at 61 as well. I don't know if it's a really big deal at this point other than just maybe a limitation on some supply, maybe some logistics stuff. We'll see. If it continues to rise, then that will be interesting to see it follow in the wake of ARC and the way that goes. But we won't know that for a few weeks yet. But either way, still interesting jump. Not a big deal, but an interesting jump to note. Notable is Crew Unlimited also jumped to 71 a box. It didn't quite hit the 5% mark where we give it a heat map color, but at 4.41% up. Pretty neat. 70s is higher than it's been in quite some time, so that's an interesting factor. We did see those prices way back in August of last year. Even September, it looks like about 70 it was. So I think we're in an interesting uptick. I don't know if that's all just market as a whole, because it does seem like if you watch the Pokemon update, just general TCG sealed product is on the rise. It's interesting to see it. Pokemon's really well managed, so we expect that there. But although I think for them it's mostly logistics issues, but for Flesh and Blood to be seeing the same thing, it makes me feel like the whole market is moving up. I might do some quick comparisons across other TCGs like Magic and maybe Yu-Gi-Oh or a couple of the other ones that are big, just to see if this is really a macro trend for the TCG space. I'm not entirely sure. We did see crypto tick up this week too, though, so it's possible that it's just a macro trend thing. Anyways, moving on. Crew Unlimited cases up 10.42% to 318 from 288. It's really interesting. That hasn't been there for quite some time, so it's good to see Crew popping up on the case level. This might be the highest since July, it looks like, Yeah, July. So that's weird. I would say Crew Unlimited cases aren't exactly like the hype right now, so I'm not sure why that jumped 10% so suddenly. We'll have to keep an eye on that one and see if it holds or if it leaks back down. We'll see. ARC first edition boxes, $12.80. We've been talking about these $1,000 boxes and how that's really cheap for ARC. But now it's jumped back up to $12.80, 27% gain. Nothing unexpected there, just because it was there, a couple months ago. And ARC is a very limited product in first edition. There's just not that much out there in the world. So $1,000 was really, really cheap for quite some time. If you got the opportunity to buy it, let me know in the comments if you got one of these $1,000 boxes. That's pretty cool. I believe when I bought mine, it was somewhere in this range. It was around the 1,200 range. So for me, it's kind of a break-even situation. That's my shelf box. I'm not really interested in selling it. It's in a plastic protective case. You know what I'm talking about, the hard cases. I think it's called Bear something. I can't remember. Really good product, by the way, if you do like it. If you do have sealed cases that you want to protect and put them on your shelf, I have 2 different boxes in there, WTR and ARC, basically for the shelf. It is very nice looking. I do like it. 12% on Crew first edition, 12.75 up to 389, another jump up. Again, everything's just pushing up. Not really sure why. Maybe ProQuest is causing higher demand, but it seems like the things that moved the highest don't really fit that. No one's buying an ARC first edition box for ProQuest, right? Or maybe they are. Maybe they are. Maybe they're bringing it to their local shop that has a big event and they're going to crack it there. I have seen that happen in the past, but ProQuest doesn't seem like the place to do that. That seems more like Pro Tour or Worlds or something. I think people were doing that. Could just be holiday demand too. That's a possibility. Anyways, $389 is a good price. We saw that a couple months ago, so nothing too crazy there. But Crew jumping back up 12% is pretty interesting. Everfest 20.4% up to 59. That's just reversion to the mean. We've seen that. We were at 60 a few months ago. We've seen this volatility back and forth. So the 20% jump isn't as dramatic. It is interesting that it's above the previous high, right? We'll look at the charts on that one, but essentially we had a dip last week and now we're back to where we were plus some. So just general uptick in the market. Really interesting. Nothing but red. That's pretty exciting, actually. We have seen a lot of blue weeks. We've seen a lot of tick downs slowly over time. And now we're seeing the heat rise in the flesh and blood space. I think we've been talking in the Discord, those of you who joined us over the holiday, free-for-all. Welcome. Appreciate you joining. And we've been talking in there about the markets and the various things going on. It's been a lot of fun. So if you want to join the Discord, you can do it by signing up for the Patreon. I believe we still have $1 slots left. So $1 a month, I think, gets you in there and you're able to talk with us about these things kind of live. Speaking of that, one of the topics that came up was Crown of Providence has spiked. Look at this. It's crazy. It was going for $219 a few days ago, $200 a day before that. Now it's $242. It's sold for, and next highest listing is $245. That's nutso. This is purely player driven. We were talking about different strategies and ways people approach in the Discord. It's kind of interesting, but one of the things that I found most fascinating is that there's a thought that you can sell into ProQuest hype. If you had an extra one of these, it's a clear generic that everyone uses. People are really getting competitive. There's a lot of player demand, and so obviously these are selling out right now. Post ProQuest, I suspect, and I don't know if this is true, and obviously there's no financial advice on this channel, but I suspect that what is going to happen is that this drops down. After ProQuest, it'll fall off, and when that happens, I don't know how low it goes though. That's the real question, because it's still a useful card, even if you don't win your ProQuest, unless you're rage quitting Flesh and Blood totally. I mean, look, it was only on the first, it was 166. That's crazy. That's a huge jump in just a few days. And it did sell. It's not like it was just listed. You know how sometimes there's a big price gap between the regular market price and the actual sold for? Yeah, that's crazy. That's a huge jump. Same thing happened with Tunic, right? Which is another staple. So pretty interesting. Let's jump into Dynasty cards, see what's going on there. There is a bit of a jump. The Whispers are at 80. Surgical Extraction hopped up. I think it was around 40, 45 was the low. It's now back up at 57. This one doesn't really make much sense to me personally, because I don't see Arachne being in ProQuest heavily, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's a new fan favorite. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with the ProQuest stats when they come out. Mechanoids dropped a little bit. I think a couple dollars from the last time we talked about it. Command and Conquer's down a little bit. I think it was like $4.44 last time, so it's only a few bucks. Harpoon, I don't remember seeing that up here before, so that's clearly going up. I've said it in the past, I called it even before Dynasty came out, that Aggro Dash is the new core, the aggro meta. So basically, if you can't match Dash on damage output and you're trying to be aggro, then you're losing essentially, because Dash is just very powerful, very consistent, very easy to get about 20 damage around out. And then Pulse Wave Harpoon and the Hanabi Blaster both just increase that by quite a bit. So Dash is the core of the aggro side of things, and if you can't match Dash or you can't defend against Dash, then you're going to have trouble in these professional level tournaments coming up, I would expect. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not super deep into the meta, but just by looking at numbers and that sort of thing, that's kind of what I predicted before Dynasty came out. Dynasty added some some heat, excuse me, some heat to Dash, and that added it, made it even more so. So I think that's a thing. Crown of Dominion, $29. That's kind of interesting that the regular one has dropped so low. $30 L is pretty impressive. Marvels are holding up, generally speaking. Oh my, look at that. Azalea speculation, because we know that she's in Outsiders. That's jumped quite a bit. 142 is higher than it was. I think it was like 110, 120 range. I might have to pull the trigger on this mechanoid. It seems to continue to be dipping, and yeah, Emperor's down to $9.99. So still $1,000, still expensive as hell. Oh, the Angel dropped. Look at that. That was 500 last time we talked about it. So the Angel dropped. I might pick that up sometime soon too. I really do like these two pieces of art, and I think these full arts tend to hold up pretty well over time. It's just this is rare and expensive, and I think the longer wait on both of them, the better off I'll be. That's just me and how I'm going to do it. Let's jump into the charts. All right, unlimited charts. Yeah, still has the premium. Nothing too interesting there. We'll just go through these quickly because some of this is going to be relatively simple. ARC Unlimited, we're seeing parity now, so this is a question mark whether we hold these prices or not, because when the cases don't hold a premium over the long term, you tend to see destabilization of boxes. So what we'll end up seeing is whether this drips down a little bit or if the cases jump up. I would suspect cases jump up because supply is still limited and I don't see reprints coming or replacement for this product, frankly, but that's where that is. Crew, we see this uptick that we were just talking about. The premium's intact and has moved in parallel, which is interesting and good. Mon, Unlimited again, we're still talking about here. Oh, premium came back. First time in a long time that the premium came back. So we talked about this last week, how this might be reaching a point of stabilization, upward trend. It's going to be a long slog. It's not going to be simple. It's not going to be easy. There will be volatility during this process, but seeing a premium finally come in is actually pretty nice to see. It's a good thing, and it's telling that the market is starting to absorb this product enough that it actually makes a difference. Let's go on to Ellie, Tales of Aria. This one's always been a bit wild. Looks like we are holding this new high. So I would say right in this middle line here, right between the high and the low, is our new kind of basis to rubber band around. So we'll go above, we'll go below, between 219 and whatever this is. What is this? It's not letting me click it. There we go, 244. So call 230 as an average. It seems to be the right price for Tales of Aria Unlimited cases, that is. That the boxes are following suit, sticking with it. We see a lot of chaos here. There might be some ARB opportunities, but I don't know when that will happen. I'm not even sure it's worth it, right? No EVR. One of these days, I promise I'll remember that. All right, first edition. Interesting stuff here. WTR is still at this kind of record low. I mean, if you want it, this is probably your best time to buy it. Obviously not financial advice, but with everything else starting to tick up, I can't imagine this staying low for very long. Could be wrong on that. And then, of course, you have this crazy ARB opportunity. There's just not that much of that left in the world. ARC. Looking at the rise here, interesting to see the boxes pop back up. This premium is probably going to go up, I would expect, in the case format. Even though there's a premium and there's no one cracking cases or doing an ARB opportunity here, I can't see this staying this low or this tight because it is such a loved product and clearly has some demand going now. Could be wrong. Happens. Crew, we were just talking about that. So tightened up the band on the premium here. This was just a criminally low period. It shouldn't have been this low considering the premium on the cases. It just didn't make sense. So it's finally catching back up and acting more rational in the marketplace. Mon, we were just talking about the first edition is interesting. Our premium's back intact, similar to what's happening to the Unlimited Edition. Tales of Aria, we've gotten our checkmark purchase point, which I would say this is probably the low for the period for now, for this quarter or so. We'll see what happens though, because it is a very volatile product and there's a ton available. Premium's intact. We did reach this parity last week and now it's intact by 75 whole cents. Everfest. Everfest, interesting. On the rise. That is crazy. This product has a ton of inventory out there. I wonder. So I'm curious. We don't know because they didn't ever tell us after Tales of Aria where we were. I'm curious if they did end up cutting the print run. I think the word is that they actually doubled it over Tales of Aria or something like that, like a big jump. But I don't know that they ever delivered it, right? Because we never got our unlimited, right? They never delivered that. So I'm curious if they were doing wave releases and they held back. To see this go up at this point is just a bit surprising. That's all. It does have some cool stuff in it. And as I said on our year-end video, it is my favorite opening experience. I realized something else about that. We talked about this on the podcast, but the thing that struck me afterwards, I forgot to mention, is that it was the first paper. The paper packs, that is part of what made it such a fun experience to open. It was viscerally pleasing, which is an interesting factor I didn't think about at the time, but I think that was a big part of why I like that, it holds a special place in my heart, because it was the first paper packs. I think it occurred to me when I was opening Pokemon in the plastic packs. I was like, oh yeah, paper packs are so nice. Anyways, ARB opportunity here on Uprising. Nothing too crazy here. We're still looking at map level prices, so I wouldn't expect anything to go significantly there to be a big deal. So Dynasty, messy charts. Interesting that it's below map at the case level. We do see an ARB opportunity pop up of a whole 25 cents, but with map and all that stuff happening, this is really chaotic. Very surprising for this time of the market trend. So, and that is it for your market update. I hope you guys are out there cracking packs, playing games, enjoying your prep for ProQuest. It is coming up quickly. It is clearly affecting the markets. Let me know in the comments, what sort of market changes have you noticed? Is there cards you were chasing or interested in and then it spiked suddenly? Is it because ProQuest? Is there some secret tech out there? I think most of it's predictable, like your generic headpieces, your tunic, etc. I think Shuko, because Phi is in there, the claws, Tiger Shuko, or whatever they call it. And then obviously Dash stuff, right? The Teklo Foundry Heart has jumped up significantly in the past few months. But yeah, there's a bunch of singles jumping based around ProQuest. I don't expect those to last. So if you don't need them for ProQuest, I would not buy them at these expensive prices. They will likely come down after the fact. But that's just my 2 cents. I don't know. Maybe it's a good time to sell into the market. I'm definitely considering it. Anyways, I hope you guys are out there cracking packs, playing games, having fun, and enjoying this hobby that we all love. Until next time, have a good one.